Right, today's the 12th of September 2024, and going back a week or so ago I had a clairvoyant reading, but I'm not giving that information at the moment because I made a documentary to say that the setups, or this organised force, want to give me their reading instead of my reading. And their force is to tell me that I'm being fucking smashed in, being knife dead, being beaten to fucking death, having my fucking life taken, being shot dead, and nailing me as a rapist, claiming I had sex with Sadie or Stephanie or Amy or whatever, getting aggressive, getting brutal about it, getting malicious, and making the suggestion that they're going to rip me to fucking pieces in my next life and play about with me in a fireplace with poker sticks while raping me as a baby as well before they kill me. So they want to make the suggestion with their own suggestion of giving me a reading, a clairvoyant reading if you want to put it like that. And then obviously we're timing loud bikes to erections, timing overhanging trailers to hit my legs off from behind, or timing people to give me trouble, causing threats, arguments, people coughing, people sneezing in my face, drain covers being hit over, timed as I pass a drain cover to tell me that my life's down the drain, controlling me in a way where I've got to keep moving directions, crossing the road, and when I try avoiding one problem, they cause another problem. So, for example, if someone sneezes in my face, you try and cross and you can't because they time a car to smash right into you as you turn around. And then if you turn the other way at the same time, if someone's sneezing at you in the other direction, you try going back the other way. Someone's coughing or sneezing, or you're getting rough, people start on you in your direction the other way, in a controlled way where it can happen up to about 200 times per day on a bad day, and it has been worse than that in the past. Well, believe it or not, I've done this video about 30 fucking times, okay? This second part. God doesn't want me to mention sexuality. Well, it's something that needs to be important for the fucking video. So if I get lost for words or I fucking fuck up, then you blame the creator God, because God doesn't want me fucking having a say. God wants me fucking slaughtered sexually and fucking thrown in the fucking hellfire. Crotty cunt. Anyway, if the little bastard would let me have a say, take into account I'm not going to get this properly, and also I need to get the clairvoyant reading in as well, but I'm trying to document this so I can get my fucking say of what I want to say before the creator fucks me up. Right, so as far as sexuality goes, I've not had sex in my whole life because I've been stopped. Enemies have stopped me getting sex all my life. And those who were sexual females have been in sexual relationships since they've been a teenager, and they're all single mothers. So my enemies were fucking teenagers and people in their 20s and in their 30s. I'm known as a sick cunt if I don't lose virginity, basically, with a lady age 40 plus. But you've got to take into account, some people don't take to negative types of attraction, and I'm one of those that doesn't take to negative attraction. It's okay for those who've already had sex and been in sexual relationships. They've adjusted through the years from their first sexual relationship. Well, I haven't had that. I've been stopped from getting anything at all. I'm told I'm a sick cunt if I don't go with people twice the age of people who sexually abused me as a child. I'm told I'm a sick cunt if I go with anyone the age Jesus Christ was when he was crucified, let alone when he was in a sexual relationship with Mary Magdalene. I'm also told I'm a sick cunt if I look at anything basic attraction or smooth looking skin. And yet these people that all my enemies have fucked, they all had soft skin, they were all sexual models, and yet they have the nerve to put me down as a sick cunt when I've never had anyone in my whole life. And the next problem is I'm being nailed as a child rapist, a woman beater, and they're wanting to fucking shoot me dead, to bash my fucking brains in, to kick my fucking head around like a fucking rugby ball, to inject me with HIV, to knife me to the fucking floor, to smash my fucking arms and legs off, to put me in the fucking fireplace, to tie my neck with rope, to drag it along the road on a tow bar of a car, to drag me along the road, and also to throw me in a fucking slurry pit, and to bash my brains out, and to make it fucking clear in their dry and sarcastic accent and nasty, malicious, fucking shouted, sort of tempered, argumental accent, to fucking make it clear that you're a liar, or we'll make it fucking clear you're a sick bastard, when I haven't done nothing wrong, because I've never had sex with children, I've never raped children, I've never molested children, I've never had sex with a woman, basically, so it's as good as that, Christ. So the only thing you can really sort of dig at is Wayne's World, and that's what they're doing at the moment. But the thing is, when you go to Wayne's World, there's a documentary that's going to have to be covered that is very difficult to explain, and this goes back to 1994. Right, so if we get out of that, I've been told on social media that looking at a 34-year-old woman, that I'm a real sick bastard. So I'm being told I'm a real sick bastard, yeah? And not to look at anything. And she has told me that you don't look, or you don't contact, you don't even look at my stuff. Saying, I'm 34, I'm a woman that's only 34 years of age, and you're 39 or whatever it was at the time. And she said, there's over 5 years difference in age, that makes you a real sick bastard. So I thought to myself, well, Jesus Christ, when he was crucified he was 33 or 34. And he's been in a sexual relationship. I'm not being funny, but when he was in a sexual relationship, Jesus was actually a child molester, because Mary Magdalene was only 11 years of age. There's some conspiracy videos that are actually saying that she was 9 and not 11. I don't know the exact age, but when Jesus Christ got in a sexual relationship with this Mary, Jesus was in his early 20s, and he had 2 children as well. Not much is mentioned about this, because obviously they can't broadcast this type of information because it's illegal in today's authority, and it wouldn't be something they could publish in the Bible, because it would turn many Christians against Jesus. Either way, I don't give a shit what religion says, because religion's against me, and I've never had anyone in my whole life. So it's as simple as that. But the other thing is, all these people that are saying that they're going to fucking smash me in and break my legs, a lot of these are 20 years younger than I am today, and they're all sexual looking females, the type that tell me I'm a sick bastard, have told me that I'm going to get my fucking ex-boyfriend to fucking beat you into the fucking floor, or to smash you on the fucking floor in the streets, saying that you don't add people that are sexual looking. And they've done this even when I was in my early 20s, using social media. So, you know, it's been going on. And I first used the internet when I was at Bridgewater Library, and I've had many dating sites I pay for closed down, and it used to be post order payments, or money order payments, or whatever they call it these days, that I was making. But the thing is, even when I made those payments, they were closing those sites down, or they were stopping me look at people on the internet, and all they were doing is telling me to fuck people that raped me as a child, or insulting me in other ways, which wouldn't be the right thing to say, before they started doing the second bit, the first bit I just mentioned. But if we skip all that and get to what else I want to mention, is the amount of people that are photographing me, and the amount of people that are threatening to smash me in one day, especially in the year 2022, is the most nastiest direct threats days in the whole of my life. I had anything from 40 to 140 threats per day, because I count the sheets to make you see how many threats there is on the sheets at that time, or I just sort of randomly guess about the amount of threats. But it could have been up to 200 on some days. There was at least 40 threats almost every single day of 2022, and nearly every single day of 2022 I was being sneezed at anywhere from 40 to 80 times, but you could have 140 or even 200 people sneezing me in one day on specific days of that specific year. And the other thing is, people have been mistaking me as Savan and Liam, and they've been photographing me as that person, which could be up to 40 to 200 times per day as well. So it was a very bad year. Right, so we have this Lisa, don't we? I've mentioned this many times before. She has the appearance of greasy black hair. She's fat build. She looks like she has the type that wears misted up glasses, black glasses usually, but clear, if you get what I'm saying, really heavily sort. And also she's nicknamed Gizmo Lisa because she has big eyes, and sometimes they call her Shingles Attraction because she has rough skin that looks like has the appearance of someone who's got shingles, basically, which is similar to chickenpox, but where you got the rash rather than the spots. So they nickname her Shingles Attraction Lisa, or in the past they have said that she's chickenpox attraction. Obviously she looks like the type that laugh backwards, so they're sort of very negative in the sort of appearance like that, but also a bit confused what I'm saying, because they keep on putting people in my direction to fuck up what I'm trying to say, which is not helpful, because I need to document this. So she's a sort of goofy type if she was to laugh backwards, you know, have her head up and sort of laugh in a sort of boastful way, as if posing very social, or posing as a single mummy, or doing sort of lip poses down to the one side to apply I'm a single mother sort of. Now, I don't take to those types. When I show people the picture of Lisa, including someone in authority who's actually in his mid-60s, even he agreed when I showed him this picture 10 years ago that not everybody takes to that type. Now, he says he doesn't insult people, and he says people have the right to go with who they want to, whether it's a sexual relationship or a non-sexual relationship. And the doctor did say, I messed up, so I'm going to have to just say that, I won't say his name now, said basically that you are entitled to someone that you can fancy, especially if you've not had anyone before. But he says, you know, you shouldn't be forced to go with what people tell you to go with, you know, and all the rest of it. But he does, you know, he brings up a lot of stuff when it comes to, or regarding medication or things like that, or your mental health problem or stuff like that. 10 years ago, I showed this picture of Lisa to quite a few people. Over 3/4 of the people I showed this picture of Lisa to, they all said that she's not the attractive type, and some of these people are older than me, even 20 years older than me, near enough. And they agree, not everybody takes to that type. And some people said, oh, you know, and others say, oh, she's not my type, and sort of laugh about it. That's 10 years ago. Well, today, I'm actually told I'm a sick bastard, and it's actually come to a stage where someone's actually got a knife out and chased me to tell me I'm a sick bastard because I won't fancy that Lisa, saying if you don't fancy that, you're a pervert, because everybody's at attraction today. Well, the problem is I don't take to that type. You can't tell people that today. They just got you down as a sick cunt regardless. So I don't know how I'm going to get sex, and the thing is, they've also threatened to knife me because they're saying you tried contacting prostitutes and saying you're not supposed to have sex with a prostitute, and that's only dangerous perverts that contact prostitutes and stuff like that. And they got really nasty about that. So things have really kicked off. I've been chased with knives, I've been shouted at, and like I said, the threats are currently on a high at the moment, where I'm going back to about 40 to 80 threats per day. And some of these people are getting a lot more nastier, wanting to fucking smash my brains out, and saying they want to fucking knife me, and saying they want to cut my wrist and they want to cut my throat in a fight. They really want to get nasty about it. Well, the thing is, on sexuality, 99.9% of all problems I've had in my fucking life is because of sexuality. And the reason that I had to leave my old place is because of sexuality and sort of getting gritty eyes from energy weapons. And that's why I had to camp before I came here. But obviously we've got the burning problem at my place, and I don't know what's causing that, which started from January the 1st, 2024, but it wasn't until beginning of February where they really started to use it. But I will mention, the year before, on Valentine's Day, I had 80 threats in that one day. Everyone was getting nasty as fucking anything, getting really aggressive, and it's even come to fucking punch-ups nearly, where people have actually fucking smashed their door shut, smashed their van door, shut it out the window. There's been glass fucking smashed or something from wherever, where they shut the door quickly, or saying you're fucking paying for this, you're going to fucking take your life, you're being fucking shot dead, you're a rapist, all because of sexuality. But the problem is, the only sex I've had in my whole life is being sexually abused as a child. Yet I got to be told that I raped girls' names or boys' names, like Sadie or Ian or Amy or Stephanie, you name it. There's nothing you can do about it. And also I'm being accusations are coming to me claiming that I stole a neighbour's bike, which is not true. So they're saying that I stole Sam's bike, which is not true. That's coming back at me as well when I haven't done nothing wrong. And they're getting nasty about that, saying because you stole Sam's bike, you're having a fucking break-in, but you're not just having a fucking break-in, you're having your fucking life taken because of it. They're getting really, really fucking nasty. It's like it's sort of really, really want to get nasty, but they get their facts right first, rather than fucking starting on people saying that I've done it or whatever. And they're saying that's the reason that you're burning as well, in the past, if we go back to the beginning part of February. So, you know, there's nothing you can do about it. And when you mention it to the doctor or whatever, he just puts it down as schizophrenia. Even if you say it shows up on radiation detectors, nuclear radiation detectors, or anything like that. They just say, we don't look at those. We have to look at it our way, and we have to put it down to schizophrenia. All the threats I get, even the recordings I play to the doctor, with the shouting on the recordings where you can hear it clearly, I've even played these recordings to my father, my brother, and other people, and they said, this sounds fucking rough, you know, or whatever. And some people would say, just don't let it bother you, and just ignore it and get on with life. Leave them to it. And if it does get out of hand, then obviously you've got me to call or whatever. Well, that recording, or those recordings with that sort of shouting on it, or that whatever, even people on Facebook have actually mentioned that these recordings sound very dangerous. And I'm explaining these are the threats I get. And what does the doctor say when I play it to him? He says there's nothing on there, it's schizophrenia, or it's recorded off the telly. So when I mention gun sounds, again, he's in the past, not recently as such, but it has occurred recently. And after Matty got evicted for trying to knife the staff door down, and some of the neighbours, when they've had their arguments, are saying that it was me that he was supposed to knife down because they're claiming I raped Sadie Dando. And it's just getting nastier, and now there's a whole load of threats from outside rather than inside. Anything from fucking smashing my fucking brains out to fucking taking my fucking life away, smashing me with a knife. And there's been the occasion where they keep on mentioning this person who nicknames himself Scott, or it could be his real name, or it could be Dan, or it could be someone else. If we go back to conversations that were occurring outside my place, that mentions another name called Oliver. But whoever this person was, he wanted to meet up with me in April 2022 area, and he wanted to smash me in, and he wanted to knife me and wanted to throw me on the railway track at Highbridge railway station. Because I changed the direction, because I knew I couldn't get home, because he was pretending to be a single lady when he was texting me. So when after that, I decided to meet up in Bridgewater, and that's where he wanted to smash me out. He said, I'll take your life away. And he thought I was Savenne as well. So, you know, that's that. So sexuality is the reason, and the reason I've been posting USB sticks with data content to foreign governments and conspiracy theorists across the world outside the UK, to get my say before I'm hit off, to let them know what's really going on and what people are doing to me, and the fact that they stopped me getting sex all my life. They fucked up all clairvoyant readings, and it's all gone into negative way of life. I mean, I shouldn't even be in Yeovil, but I had to move there because of the sore eye problem that's being caused by energy weapons by the neighbours. But you know, otherwise I would have still been in Burnham-on-Sea. Even this Gemma, she phoned me up after I left a letter on the thing, and this goes back in just after I moved to Yeovil, so it would have been second year after I'd moved to Yeovil or something like that. I decided to leave a letter asking if she fancied meeting up, having a coffee, trying to get to know me since we'd spoken on the beach. And she just basically shouted down the phone saying, who the fucking hell do you think you are? Phoning up a 31-year-old fucking woman when you are 40 fucking years of age, you sick cunt. So she basically said that. I can't remember if she said 39 or 40 now. But it's one of those two. And then after that, she started shouting, I'm going to fucking I'll tell you what, I'll get the fucking police. You don't ever fucking come in this shop ever again. And if I see you anywhere, I'll be fucking reporting you to the police. You're just a sick cunt. And basically started a row like that and saying, and then she said she wouldn't get the police, and then she said, I got the people I got on my side, the people at the Blake school and all the rest of it. She said, you wouldn't be fucking worth living. You've just fucking landed your whole fucking life in jeopardy. You sick cunt. You're having your fucking life fucking taken. And said, bye. There's a few other bits and pieces she said, but I can't remember what it is. So she basically said that. I've been known as a sick cunt when I was trying to speak to Emma. She's actually 1 year older than me, but because she has smooth skin at the age she is, on 2 occasions, there was 2 bearded types of people that started on me. One nearly got nasty and fucking smashed me in, because he told me I'm a sick cunt for looking at this Emma, thinking that she was younger than me. And he thought she was in her mid-20s. He'd say, he's a fucking sick cunt. No, that's it, I'm going to fucking smash him. Look, what's she? 25, 26? Go on. No, fucking have him. Go on. I'll fucking get a knife out on him. That's Savannah, alright? I'll fucking break his legs. You shouldn't be talking to this woman. And obviously, got to a situation where Emma didn't say much either. Now, usually she is sort of mouth back, but on this occasion, she didn't. Or she would say, what the hell do you think you're doing? Or what are you playing at, you know? Emma doesn't speak to me anymore, and I appreciate that. And I don't cause any trouble for Emma, and if I see her, I give her a friendly look if I see her, or just walk past and say nothing, because obviously she doesn't remember me, and she made it clear she doesn't want to know me, and then she makes sort of spastic sort of, I don't want to have to use that term because I don't know, but with her mouth sort of to apply that, you know, and then obviously if she walks past today, she just walks past. So yeah, obviously if she doesn't remember me, I don't want to sort of cause trouble or anything like that, so I leave her to it. And I'm not too bothered about that. But yeah, and then the other occasion where these two bearded people started on me was much the same, but a milder situation where they just photographed me and started to make it sort of go, fucking him, there's a fucking him, a fucking sick cunt he is, isn't he? I fucking have him, I'm going to fucking shoot him dead. And then sort of said something like that, I can't remember what it is, in that sort of accent as they walked past. And they took a photograph of me as I was speaking to this Emma at the same time. Emma at the time would have been... well, she's 1 year older than me, basically, so today she'd be 44, where I'm 43. Yeah, it's not good, is it? And all they're doing is, and when it comes to setups around me, this control force, all these organised force against me, they're just telling me they're going to rip me to pieces, take my life apart, going to throw me in the fireplace and fuck about with me as a child in my next life and rip me to pieces again. And to make the suggestion that you're living up to your name just in time. That's probably why people think I'm Savannah, because they don't like using my real name, Justin, because of just in time. And it makes a suggestion that they are ripping me to pieces and I'm living up to my name, Justin. So that's why they're doing it, probably. I don't know. I don't know who this Savannah is, but whoever this Savannah is a guitarist, and he's not into jungle music or dark ambient or whatever I'm into. And the other thing is, according to an old lady that was at Barrow Cafe, and I will get into the clairvoyant reading, but I will get through this first, okay? The person at the Barrow Cafe, before I moved to Yeovil from Burnham-on-Sea, she gave a description of this person and saying that basically he's taller than me and he's more stronger build than me, unfortunately, whoever this Savannah is. And according to other threats, he's got a boastful ha-ha-ha, so he talks like a gar, ha-ha, in that sort of way. So whoever it is has a posh accent, maybe, very boastful, very well-liked, I guess, or at some point been very well-liked, and seems to be one of these sorts of people that's with everybody, knows everybody, friends with everybody, you know, that sort of person. And then obviously I had a couple of teenagers on the back of a bus just before I moved to Yeovil, or just after I moved to Yeovil, which is on the Bridgewater bus to Street Wells and Glastonbury. And according to these young couple on the back of the bus, they think that Savannah has a more feeble looking face than me, but has the same shaped nose as me, but looks very similar to me. But then other people, you know, are saying I don't look like Savannah at all. And these are like the hard, druggy types, or people with the pit bull terrier dogs, when people have arguments saying that's Savannah. And they're saying, no, it's not, you know. So there's some people that can recognise the difference, but there's a lot of people that think I'm that person, and I don't know what's going on. And it's been going on since roughly 2017 area. I can't remember what year it is now, because I've forgotten, but before that sort of time period, if we go back to 2016 and before, me being mistaken as Savannah, or getting a threat Savannah, never existed in my life. And the Liam threat, again, around about the same time that came in, and the Liam threat's on the increase slightly. But let's go to a journey on the train, shall we, to Weymouth, going back to 2022. And this was in the sunny day periods. Although 2022 was a sunny year and a lot of torrential rainstorms, and I was getting pissed off with the sun, 2023 and 2024 is a lot worse. There's been no cloud cover in 2023 and 2024. You're looking at under 6 days probably of any form of cloudy weather around me for the whole of 2023. Even in 2022, you had some form of cloud. It wasn't much, but you're looking at about roughly, I don't know, yes, it's hard to say actually. Yeah, 2022, you had about 3 weeks of cloudy weather. If you were to put all the cloudy days into one time period, 24-hour days. That's including the rain, the cloud cover, or whatever, but there wasn't much in the way of cloud cover. It's just sort of torrential rain, followed by blue skies and sunshine. But as far as sun goes, 2023 and 2024 has literally been sunny every single day. You're literally trying to pick out parts of the day, like a quarter of a day if you're lucky, or the 2nd of April or whatever, you know what I've mentioned. So yeah, I'm getting pissed off of it, to be honest, because sun suppresses me and it makes me feel down. You know, and there's also this law and cursed painting I keep mentioning. You know, talking about having no sex in my whole life and being violated with a painting as well. It makes you fucking wonder whether Christ is fucking Satan, doesn't it? So this painting is basically a very commercial painting that I saw on the internet in 2015, 2016, which looks very similar to this person who works in Tesco's in Highbridge back in that time period. Unfortunately, she's in a sexual relationship with someone called Michael, and she now has 2 ginger-haired boys, and the boyfriend, Michael, has actually threatened to smash me in and fucking beat me to fucking death thinking I'm Savan, while doing scaffolding work or building work, and he's a fucking hard-looking fucking chap as well, and he's a bit younger than me, so I don't know what age he is. And Lauren, she looks like she was about 28ish back in 2015, 2016 area, maybe a touch younger, maybe a bit older, it's hard to say. She could have even been as high as my age back at that time, but it's very unlikely. Either way, she was making sexual poses in the early days of me going to Tesco's to buy stuff, and she knew, she could see on my CD when because back in that time I was holding a CD that says if anyone's single, please contact me on Facebook or whatever. But I stopped doing that. I just put a music track on there, because what it is a CD case that I lean on to write my problems on when I go out and about anywhere. So I need those cases, and I would just put paper on there and write things down when I go out. And she saw the front of it, and then obviously she knew that I needed sex. But the problem is, every time I went in there, after I clicked that she knew, making the suggestion that she knows what I want, she'd started to turn against me because people were saying that I was Savan, and they were timing rough people initially before that to force me out of the Tesco's or away from where she was, and getting nasty with me, saying that they're going to fucking break all my fucking bones in my fucking legs and arms, calling me a sick cunt and all the rest of it. And this is before the Savan threat. This is when I was getting threats from people that are giving me threats from my old place, but they didn't really give any names at the time when all these threats were occurring. So there must be a mistaken identity, or it could be where the government or the creator God is causing me to walk into these lunatic types of people to cause all this fucking trouble. Let's put it this way, before we mention people giving me fucking trouble all the time, there's not been a single day that I've walked out since the end of the lockdown where I haven't walked into rough people. That's not a single time. Not even for 5 minutes to go to the shop, Aldi's. And most times, even taking a rubbish bag, just outside my place to the actual bin, even then they've timed a rough person. That's probably about the only time they haven't timed a rough person, on several occasions, but most times I do that, they even time a rough person to be timed. So every time, they're doing it on purpose, there's nothing I can do about it. They've cut my wrist, they cut my throat, it's as simple as that. I just have to live the rest of my life. But the problem is, they have cut my wrists and cut my throat, because seagulls and crows are telling me to fuck people that raped me as a child, telling me I'm a sick cunt, claiming that I've raped Sadie or Stephanie or Ian or whatever, and claiming I've been in a sexual relationship with Amy Weston when I've never had sex with her, and basically telling me to that I'm going to be knifed down or be beaten up, and at times where I've been injured or accidentally nearly broken my neck when I fell on the bed back at one of my old places, which was in Bridgewater in 2011 area, 2010. As soon as I nearly broke my neck, as I fell onto the floor, a seagull go outside and crow suddenly go ha 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 ha, you know, like that. And it's also the first crow or seagull laugh of that specific day that occurred outside my place at that time that happened. And obviously, like I said earlier, when I was being sexually abused as a child, seagulls and crows were making ah sounds and ha ha ha's then. Well, anyway, the animal voice sounds is on the increase at this minute in time. Quite literally, that all increased in December of 2022. In 2021 and sections of 2022 it was down. It was occurring, but it's very rare. And so were the threats, all that's increased. The oldest person to moan about my age on a dating site or anything like that is 38. To tell me I'm a sick bastard if I don't fancy anyone over the age of 38. When it comes to people giving me threats, threatening to smash me in, to knife me down, to burgle my place, to pour petrol over me and set me alight, or to kick my fucking teeth in or smash my head around like a fucking rugby ball, or calling me a child rapist or a sick cunt because I won't fancy an old person, is because I fancy Alicia. Alicia's 37 or 38. I believe she's 38 with the threats that I'm getting. When they're telling me I'm a sick bastard, saying that she's paedophile attraction and you shouldn't be looking at that sort, and saying he's just a sick cunt. And they've also been saying recently in threats that you shouldn't be having sex at all. When you're not having sex, we're stopping you getting sex because you're a sick cunt. You rape children, but I haven't. That's the problem. And obviously, the only sex I've had is being sexually abused as a child. And this is why I've had to start war and post my USB sticks to foreign governments across different parts of the world to get my fucking say, to let them know what's fucking going on and how they're fucking hanging me for no reason at all and trying to rip me to pieces and put me in jeopardy with the creator God. So they've already done this. They've already sliced my wrist with the creator God. God's turned and they're laughing about it. They're making the suggestion, they're laughing about it with setups, but there's nothing I can do about it because God's fallen. But yeah, so that answers that bit, doesn't it? Another thing I want to mention is the whistling problem. Going back when I was living in Bridgewater, there's a lot of people bow whistling or doing dribbling, wet, popping bowl whistles in a way where it's very irritating, especially if you've got a migraine. Well, what they do is they whistle threats, like I'm breaking in or doing this or doing that. In most cases, people have not told me to fuck people who sexually abused me as a child, but it did occur when I was living in Bridgewater, West Street or whatever, where people have told me to fuck people that raped me as a child, telling me I'm a sick cunt and not getting anybody, and to tell me that they messed it up, or they've stopped me getting anyone. And there's even been people that have told me that they've been paid to stop me going with that person, or they've messed it up in some other way, or turned friends against me, or paid friends to become enemies. But I don't quite understand what they're saying by that, why people are paying them to turn against me, but that was what was being said back at that time. When it comes to that sort of issue, it sort of ended around about 2007, 2008 area. And then obviously I did lose my friends, the very few I did have. But there was a couple that have told me that they'll have to go with my daughter when she grows up because they fucked his life up. And this goes back 20 years, when people were saying that, saying he's not going to get anyone, because everybody's in a relationship that's a sexual looking person. And he's right. But when he said this is 20 years or so ago, or around about that time, maybe just, I can't remember when it was. But the problem is, the person that said that, his daughter, when I was on a bus trip past North Beverton, back in, just before the lockdown, she was telling me I was a sick bastard, and she was already pregnant with a boyfriend. That just shows you that it's too late to do anything at all. And when I've spoken to prostitutes, there was one Asian prostitute that I spoke to on the internet, and she told me that if you want sex in the way you're asking for it, you're going to have to do it with a family member or someone you know in person, a friend or relative, someone you've known for years. Well, the problem is, there isn't anyone in my family, and we've got the same issue. If it's a sexual female, they're going to treat you like everybody out there does, in a sort of uncaring sort of way. And there isn't really many females that are single in my side of the family. None, in fact. Then you've got to look at the relatives. So possibly if you go further afield, it might be possible, but they're all going to be minors. The ones that are single, because everyone's in a sexual relationship. When I was going through people's Facebook channels, all you see is congratulations when someone reaches the age of 16, 17 or 18. And that's it, it's too late. Once someone's a single mother, they fucked it. But people are telling me I'm a sick cunt if I don't go with a single mother. They're telling me that you've got to go with a stale piece of shit. You've got to go with a used woman. Fucking look at your age, you sick cunt. You don't tell people that when they've been sexually abused as a child and never had sex in their whole life. And when they fucked them as well, by the way, when they had the enjoyment of their younger years and their sexual skin before they turned into an old fucking hag, yeah. But there's nothing you can do about it. They cut my wrist, they cut my throat. So, let's talk about Kim, shall we? This is like 1 in a million fucking people that do this. Well, there's 2 Kims, but I'm going to just mention the name Kim, because I'm not 100% sure with what Sadie's saying is true, but there's also another Kim that's online. So basically, with Kim, when she was 18, she got in a sexual relationship with a man aged 41, which is just a couple of years younger than my age today. Obviously, she split up, and she became pregnant, and she was a single mother. Which I didn't know until later on, obviously. 10 years down the line, I asked her if she was single. And there's only 10 years difference between me and her, rather than 20 years difference between her and her boyfriend. Because she would have been 10 years older, and I'm 10 years younger than her boyfriend. So there would only be 10 years difference between the age of her and me, rather than her ex-boyfriend, where it is 20 years difference. Where, obviously, she didn't moan about age or anything like that when she got in a sexual relationship with the person she was with when she was 18. But when she's 28 or 27 or whatever age it was, she told me I'm a sick bastard saying there's 10 years difference in age. And I thought to myself, well, what about when you were 18? You had a 20-year age difference age gap. And I thought to myself, you were more sexual looking when you went with that person as well at that time, where you've developed a more negative, quick attraction change in the decade since you've been in a sexual relationship. So what I'm saying now is basically some people, especially in the UK, they seem to age very quickly. And I don't know why that is. So your average age of a 60-year-old, say 60, maybe late 50s or 60, in, say, Asia or places like that where they're much cleaner and eat healthier food, have a healthier lifestyle, nicer people, whatever, they don't develop negative attraction till they're roughly 55 or 60. In the UK, they seem to go into negative attraction as soon as they hit the age of roughly about 25 years of age. And the other pet thing is, people told me I'm a sick cunt if I don't go with anyone over the age of 25, and this goes back over 10 years ago. But the problem is, everyone's a single mother at that age, everybody. But like I said earlier, I'm told I'm a sick cunt if I look at anyone the age of 38. And all these people that are telling me I'm a sick cunt, they're all people 20 years younger than me, you know. And yet they've been in sexual relationships with children, basically, and they got the nerve to tell me I'm a sick cunt when I've not had anyone in my whole life. Let's look at this church that I'm in at the moment, at Norton-sub-Hamden. Because this is the first time I've been here for 3 months, and I decided to take a trip here, basically to get off at the shop. I haven't gone anywhere, I haven't done any walking. I won't be doing any walking. I only came here to do this documentary, because I don't want to do it at home. And I wanted to get something to eat, and that's it. But, there was a boy aged about 14 or 15, with a girl aged 11, or a girl, and another girl aged roughly 8 or 9. Well, it was a rainy day, and it's winter time. And it was also sunny. Don't forget that. There's never fucking... But this was like when we had the floods, and obviously I had to stay in the church until the bus came, because I got drenched and I had to walk through a flood and whatever. I thought it was going to be a rainy day, so I wanted to get some pictures, but it didn't work out, basically. But anyway, these 3 people came to the church door, and firstly, I think it's the young one, I'm not sure, I can't remember which way around it was now, because I didn't take much notice, whether it's the 11-year-old or the girl that's aged 8 or 9, and said, oh, why does he have to be in here? Actually, it was the young one that said that, who was about 8 or 9, and the 11-year-old just gave me a dark, evil look with her eye. In actual fact, for a girl only aged 11, she was given an adult pose for her eye, so she had like an adult brain, or she had an adult, look to her eye when she looked at me. And obviously the boy aged 14 or 15 said, oh, well, we can't do it in here, can we? And then obviously after that he I think it's where he slammed the door shut and then kicked it or whatever, and I said, I'm not fucking afraid of that fucking sick fucker. I'll just smash his fucking brains in and bash him on that fucking church floor and fucking bash him out. And I thought to myself, a person that age telling me he's going to do that just because he wants sex with those his friends, the two girls that he wanted to come in there. Then obviously he left, kicked the fucking church door away, again, and then obviously the girls started saying something or rather shouting, and then they walked off together, and that was the end of that. Yet I'm known as a sick cunt if I don't have sex for the first time properly in my whole life with someone over the age of 40. The problem is, it's not very easy to find people the age I'm at who's sexual looking. In actual fact, I'm being told I shouldn't be having sex. And most people on dating sites are telling me, or when I've used dating sites up until about 2018, they're telling me that most people over the age of 35 don't want sexual relationships. They want a relationship. And most people that are telling me that I'm a sick cunt or telling me to look at the older type, they're telling me that you're supposed to go with a negative type of a non-sexual relationship. And they're all doing it. Everyone do it. They've all got the same spiteful attitude. And everyone's dry and sarcastic and serious and fucking tempered and fucking nasty. And the other thing is GSOH or whatever, its great sense of humour, is not even listed on the internet anymore. Back in 2005 and 2006, people were saying that they have a great sense of humour. Nowadays, you don't see that at all. In actual fact, I've not seen that on a dating site for over 10 years, or more than that, possibly 15 years, where a great sense of humour is listed on there. It's just dry, sarcastic, serious, and sometimes tempered, argumental, and sometimes they nickname themselves something lunatic or whatever. So that's all there is. And obviously in recent times, the last 10 years, or just over the last 10 years, they're telling you that you shouldn't be adding people on a dating site unless you know them in person, or have them in your phone's friends list. And that's another problem. Everyone's got a smartphone, a sex phone, because they were going to name them sex phones back in 2004-ish, but because it sounded politically incorrect, they named it a smartphone. And the reason they wanted to name it a sex phone is because they were thinking that everyone's going to get sex who have a sex phone. But because it was politically incorrect, they named it the smartphone. But because everyone has a smartphone, that's a problem. That's making it even more difficult for me to find anyone that's single. And everyone's moaning about the age gap. Like that Kim, she went with someone aged 41 when she was 18, and when I asked her, this is before I knew she was a single mother or knew the details of the past, she was telling me I'm a sick bastard because there's 10 years difference in age, because I'm 10 years younger than what her boyfriend was. So there's nothing I can do about it. And, going to Weymouth on the train back in 2022, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'll mention it. There's this lady that looks like a dog. Well, I actually thought she was a bit older than me, actually. Well, she wasn't. She's actually 2 years younger than me. But I didn't get the name, because I couldn't hear when the conversation took place. This year, that is. Quite recently, actually. Let me get my bearings. I'm a bit confused. So it was July or August. No, it wasn't. It was August. Actually, I don't know. August 2022. I saw her on the train. The last time I saw her was in Bridgewater in 2006 area, in Boots Pharmacy, in the High Street. I thought she had a boyfriend at that time, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I saw her again since I moved to Yeovil, and the very first time I saw her was in Yeovil College, and she has like a sister who I think is named Gemma, I'm not sure, but she's a lot more negative attraction. She looks like a granny, unfortunately, and I thought she was actually the younger one as well, but I'm not sure, because since I've been told the person's age, well, not directly, in conversation I mean, it appears that she could have only been 13 when I was 15 or 16 when I went to Yeovil College, and because she was a tall girl, that's what made me think that she was older. Well, obviously she's got the appearance of a poodle dog, and she was known as a very ugly person. Nobody liked her really, they thought she was ugly. But when you compare her attraction from today's age, what I am today, my age, and whatever else, she's probably the sexiest you're going to find in my age group, because she's still got smooth skin at nearly 40 years of age, or whatever age she is. Anyway, I saw her on the train. Again, people were thinking that she was younger than me. Well, she is a younger, but only by a couple of years. But they're making it sound like she's about 20 years younger than me. And people were getting nasty. This old bloke said, "You're a real fucking sick cunt. You fucking stop staring at her. What are you fucking doing? I'll fucking get my fist out. I'll fucking punch you to the fucking floor. You're fucking sick. You're fucking what? She's in her 20s or something like that?" And I thought to myself, no, she's not in her 20s. She's just a little bit younger than me, because she was in college at the same time I was in college, back in days of when I was at school, but it was in the school holidays, when you had activities, and there was a couple of coach trips as well that you had back at that time. Well, the other thing I want to mention is also another person, this is a youth, aged about 15, saying, "You're fucking sick. You're fucking..." And sort of, I fucking smash her and start fucking rowing, thinking I was surveilling, saying, "You're fucking sick. Fucking, I tell you, I'll fucking bash your fucking brains out." Basically saying that while I was looking at this lady that I was telling you about that looks like the poodle dog. I don't like insulting people or whatever, but I'm just trying to give a description of how this lady looks, because I don't know her name still. If she is single, I would try and ask her out, yeah. But I don't think that's going to be possible, because when she was in the group of people that she was with, in fact, it's not going to be possible, I forgot about that, because she's a single parent now. When she got into the group of people that she was with, they were thinking that I was Savannah as well. And so basically then I got off the train, and then sort of, that was it, because I had to sort of hide around the corner so that it didn't turn her against me where they were thinking I was Savannah, because, you know, if I saw her at a future time, I would have tried to see if I could get to know her. But that's through. I saw her a couple more times in 2023, and she's got a boyfriend. Then I saw her pregnant, and the boyfriend made threats towards me, and the boyfriend's younger than her. And then after that, it turns out she's a single mother. When she looks at me though, she doesn't give the normal dark evil look that enemies give me. She gives like a sort of stern dark look, but it's not that, it's like a lazy look. It's not like I'm sort of trying to dig at you with the eye. It's a more sort of calm dark eye, if you get what I'm saying. A sort of eye where it's not dislike, but it's hard to explain. But anyway, that's through. And just before the start of all the lockdowns, when the first day, the outbreak in China of the of the coronavirus, which is back in 2019, the very first day of the outbreak was also was where I found out that the very final possibility of a lady I could ask who is single had turned a single mother, and it was too late. Out of everybody I've known in my life up until that time period, even those that have turned against me or have tried contacting, even the youngest of the possible youngest, you know, it was too late. Everyone's a single mother, apart from Gemma, of course. But I don't really know Gemma that well. It was only when I got speaking on the beach when I saw her. But like I said earlier on, when she phoned me up after I left that letter, hell broke loose. So, and obviously there's another thing that I want to mention. I like recording my audio content or data onto an M disk. Now, an M disk is a safe, reliable disk where you can store music or data, basically, and it'll last a bit longer than a normal CD or DVD or Blu-ray disc. Well, they stopped making them, and in the time period they stopped making them, I found out that the time was the day that they stopped making them, back in 2014 area or whenever it was now, I can't remember. It was exactly the same day I saw Amanda Millis in B&M store in Burnham-on-Sea when I went to go and buy some matches for my incense sticks and my new age sort of candles or whatever that I was using back at that time. Well, it's too late because she's got someone and she's pregnant and she's a single mother. It's well too late for that. But obviously they know about that. Well, the next thing is, what happened was they stopped making those M discs. So Verbatim, which is a company that manufactures electronics or whatever, like USB sticks, hard drives or whatever, but also manufacture discs, decided to bring back the M disc with a few changes, but sticking to the original disc layer of the rock-like material that they use in the M disc to make a more reliable and more clearer disc using better construction on the disc layer. So not much layer, concentrating on the plastic or what they cover the disc with to make it a bit more secure, or to do a few changes to how Millenniata made them. So what happened was, this is going to sound odd, but the same day Grace Waterman, neighbour, moved into my place, which is a neighbour who lives in one of the places where I live, they stopped making those verbatim, were in trouble, and they had to stop making those M discs. And how does it stand today? There isn't no M discs. But it gets even worse, because all stuff that's all the modern, I'm getting confused again, all the modern laptops and the modern PCs don't have a disk drive in them anymore, and you have to save it on electronic storage. But the problem with electronic storage is after about 5 years, the data corrupts, or the quality just drops. When I've rescued my music, most of my music that I've rescued in the past come from CDs, not from hard drives or USB sticks, because the quality degrades after a few years. And when I put it on online storage, I had two problems with online storage. The first time I had a phone call to say that some of the stuff that you're putting on there, the FBI or CIA aren't happy about it. And I thought to myself, well, it's confidential, isn't it, if you put it on there? So they give me a phone call and saying you're going to have to and they wouldn't refund me, and they just said that you're going to have to close your account. They said they're not happy about it. And I thought to myself, well, you're singling me out. I've got no say. I've got no evidence that you're saying this, and that's what they did. So I opened another account to save my music on now, although it's not really good for that. It's more for photos and other things, because when it comes to audio files, the quality drops, as I said. But it's there in an emergency, And then I lost the password, so I had to cancel the payment, because I tried to get in there and I couldn't, because not the password, sorry, the phone verification code, I mean. You need the phone verification code, but the SIM card broke in the phone. When I put the password in, it asked me for a code. I can put the code in because I can't, because the phone's not there. And it would only send it to that phone, because obviously that's the phone it's registered to. So if the SIM card breaks, it meant I'll have to cancel the payments on that as well. So I wasn't very happy about that either. If you're going to keep music or data safe, it needs to go into, well, obviously digital is good, but it's not for short term, but really you need a disc, and I'm on for discs. But the problem is they're stopping those discs, and I'm not very happy about it. They're doing it on fucking purpose. Obviously, like I said, I mainly use USB sticks or hard drives, but the problem is, when it comes to music, or my very important music that I want to keep safe, or very important family photographs or whatever, you need it on a disc, not electronic storage, because electronic storage can break. Then again, discs can break, but they're more reliable than electronics. But not only this, but in the time period they stopped making those those M discs, or they stopped verbatim making the M discs the second time around when they reintroduced them after Millenniata had to stop them. They were causing setups or suggestions, like, setups when I'm walking about saying, oh, you're losing all your music, fuck you, we want you ripped to fucking pieces, we're taking your life away, you're a rapist, so we're starting war on sexuality. When I've never had anyone, so it's starting that shit as well. But the problem is, you shouldn't be doing this. People should have a right to have their data saved on a reliable format. But it gets even better, because people are hitting the roof about this, actually. There's conspiracies all over the internet about this at the moment, and people are not very happy about it. Not only are they doing away with discs, but the USB ports that you get in laptops or PCs or whatever, they're doing away with the connectors. So it's all Bluetooth, or has to be done for a wave frequency and not done by plugging it in. So that means they're going to do away with all the fucking USB keys, all the hard drives, USB sticks, anything like all these external hard drives. You're not going to be able to save your stuff on there, so they're going to force you to put it online. And what did I tell you about putting stuff online? It's been reported, and I've had my account closed. And on another occasion, where it's asking for a phone verification, I had to go to the bank to stop my payments on that specific site. After pissing about doing that, because I couldn't access it, because I couldn't sign in, because the SIM card broke in the phone. So how handy is that? That's how stupid they are. So basically, if you didn't have USB sticks or blank CDs or whatever, and you couldn't store it anywhere, you've lost everything. You've literally lost everything if it's got to go online only. And obviously, with online, it's not guaranteed. Where if it's in your own possession, you can put it somewhere safe in a cupboard, in the shed, or whatever, and it'd be okay. And obviously, with those M discs, they allow a bit of a temperature difference. However, they're not suitable for putting outside. Although they're claimed to be really good discs and last for hundreds of years, you've also got to consider the plastic layer and the adhesive layer and temperature changes from stretches, rock, material, cracks. So any bending of the disc or any stretching through temperature changes in the adhesive layer could cause a possibility where it could damage the disc. It's not certain. I'm not really sure on that, but they would have probably thought of that when they made those discs. But either way, it's definitely a reliable disc to keep in home, in a safe place, in normal temperatures or even cold temperatures. As long as it's not outside, I think you can pretty much say, or in direct sunlight, then I think you can pretty much say an M disc will last you for the rest of your life if you record data on there. DVDs I have actually had mess up. CDs, I don't think I have had a CD mess up actually. DVDs I have. Many USB sticks have messed up. I've only ever had 2 hard drives mess up. Micro SDs, they mess up. And I will mention something else. If you save music onto a micro SD card, the quality drops dramatically. Very similar to recording music onto a blank DVD. With the M disc, you got that initial 5% loss out of 100, so hardly nothing at all basically. But once it's on there for life. And you can just keep on getting the tracks back if you want your music. So you're not going to worry about that, are you? It's just 5%. With hard drives or anything like that, you've got about a year to 2 years before the quality starts to degrade on a hard drive on an audio file. On a USB stick, the quality drops straight away, so is not the best thing to store it on. The bass suddenly drops. The depth, how do I put it? The depth control and the surround sound in the bass area just drops into like a shallow sound as soon as you save an audio file onto a USB stick. However, if it's saved onto a hard drive, it remains the same. But like I said, in the high range, it will start to degrade pretty quickly. So it's only for a short term if you're doing it on if you're putting something to a hard drive. On a USB stick, you still have some form of high range, but you lose that baseline and the depth and the tone quality basically. But anyway, I'll leave it out on that subject. When it comes to my music, like the old school jungle stuff, the deep underground stuff from 1993 or 1994, and most of it, when it was released, they only put it on the B side of the record rather than the A side. I don't know why that is. And then you had these underground compilation CDs like Jungle Business Volume 1, the Drum and Bass Floor Burners, the Jungle Techno series, even Drum and Bass 2000s or whatever. You had the Hard Leader series, Jungle Jazz, And then you had really good records like Nutty One off the Nut EP, the Anthill Mob 123 Adrian Blunt remix. You had Making Ground Take Me Higher, the Ragga mix, Pesce World of Music, Intense Paradox, Intense Time Space Continuum, Intense The Genesis Project, Intense The Dreamer, The Alliance First Impressions, Lee and Guan's Too Deep, Q Project Champion Sound, Jim Polo The Night Rider, Part 1, The Freaky Abandon Me, and that's on Hyper Records, Gapper G and Hyper, The Information Centre, Area 39 featuring Matrix, International Rude Boys featuring Matrix, Area 39, Mental Power Unknown Intelligence, Pesce Warning, Ronnie Size and DJ Die, The Call-In, DJ Fallout, Love Me, Unit 1, Love Me. I mean, there's many different jungle tunes that I know by name. I'm just giving you a few to give you an example of the ones that are really good and the ones that are lost as well. Rev P 1994 on the B side of Rhythm Process, which is on Impact Records, Imp 22. They won't even let you have this as downloads. Right, they lost most of these tapes or whatever they put on the DAT recordings, or the original recording source is lost. So when they reissue some of these tracks, one, they can only reissue certain tracks, and another, they've got to take it off an old record because they don't have the original recording anymore, because it's got lost over time, where the original record companies have had to close down or go bankrupt, and when that occurs, all the music goes with it, because they're not allowed to keep it because it's against the law. Once they made the money, they don't really care about the music, you see. And obviously once that goes, it all goes. So when it comes to my music, apart from the few tracks that I've rescued from CD, and the 2 vinyl tracks that I rescued, which are a shortcut anyway, because I've taken them from USB sticks, because Energy Weapons, when I was living at Burnham-on-Sea, messed up all my music. So I've had to struggle to make up 35 tracks of jungle tracks that I have today. And even that, I mean, I've chucked away £1,300 of M-discs trying to record in a hurry in the time when Matty was living at my place before this occurred. But it gets even better, because not only have I done that and I've lost that, but where I had my stuff stored back in March 2024 this year, I had a break in there, so I lost all my stuff, so I got to rebuy it all back. Yeah, so I'm hitting the roof. And not only that, when I had a break in, not only did I lose all my stuff, it was in a time period where everyone was kicking off and threats were getting nastier. Directly, really to push their fucking luck to really start war. And I was lucky I wasn't suicidal. And then I got in trouble for shouting my head off and putting it on YouTube in the middle of nowhere, shouting at the creator God, saying I'll fucking rip you to fucking pieces and all this and all that, because obviously I was in a bad mood. And then they tried medicating me with risperidone to the highest dosage, and I thought to myself, you don't try and force the highest dosage on me. Through time I've come to an acceptance of partly what they said, but I'll discuss all that in a different video. But the problem is, when these problems occur, like the burning occurs, because when this burning occurs at my place, they're just putting it down to schizophrenia. It's like a crushing inside your head, burning all across your face and feet intensely. You feel bloated, you've got a sore throat, you've got a swollen tongue, you've got burny eyes, and you just feel really ill. And you just got to sit there and put up with it all day long. And obviously I had to stay at my dad's between February and March because of this issue. And when I came back from my dad's, I was being accused of child rape and raping women in that area. And then obviously you had all the other threats when I came back, claiming that I stole Sam's bike, and just digging at me, claiming that I had sex with Sadie Dando and whatever else. But that's just one problem out of many things. And I've lost what I was going to say as well, so when I remember what it is, I'll mention it. Right, so we're back on record, and I can't remember what it was I wanted to say. But what I will say is, since that incident, loud bikes to erections, people shouting at me, the behaviour in the building where I live, like banging in threats to say I'm breaking in or killing you or whatever, or to inject me with whatever, or to knife me. And obviously you have other things like people starting on the streets. All this is all on the increase at the moment. When I mentioned setups, just to give you a recap on the setups, because I haven't really mentioned much about the setups. I won't go too long about it, because obviously I want to mention this clairvoyant reading. I didn't expect to do over an hour recording or so to try and mention the clairvoyant reading. But for example, when you go out, you get a van that says "smash you to pieces" on it. So that's like a rubble smashing flatbed. They'll be followed by a van saying "message to you." So a message, number 2, and then the letter U. Then you'd have a just-in-time van, and on the just-in-time van it'll have a picture of a cartoon character smashing a double bell wind-up alarm clock, which has "just-in-time" written on the middle of the smashed glass of the alarm clock, while the bell's flying off and the springs are coming out of the alarm clock as it's being smashed. So there's a picture that's on a van, basically. Then you'll have vehicles that are nailing me as a paedophile and rapist in plural suggestion, like perverse or per-tech, or then you'll have other vehicles to say rent-a-kill, road-kill, rip your fucking life to pieces. Then you'll have gothic jumpers that say knife you down, sick cunt, or destroy that sick cunt, or, you know, adult cartoon posters or books that say tear that little bastard to pieces, he's a fucking rapist, or kill that just in time, he's a sick cunt, you know, stuff like that. I'm not sure the actual wording on some of it. I'm just giving you a quick example, and the strength of these suggestions can be just as bad as what I'm saying. I mean, like, smash your fucking head around like a rugby ball, for example. You'll have a top saying that. Obviously there isn't one that says that. I haven't, you know, exactly says that, but there's, you know, these sorts of strong suggestions that I'm saying. And obviously the several van names I mentioned, they do exist. You've got the ripping you to pieces paper shredder van, by the way. And like I said, the smash you to pieces, the Street Fighter turbo top, you know, things to suggest taking your life away, gunpoint, knife-shaped cars, black and blue cars, gun-looking cars, making sexual suggestions with bikes like wanking mechanisms, you know, this and that, you name it, you name it. I mean, I could go on for hours and hours just mentioning the setups alone. But like I said, I've got to get a clairvoyant reading in, so I'm going to skip that for now. And obviously I've already done documentaries regarding that sort of stuff. Since I stopped the recording, a bird or something has said child molester, just break in. Anyway, there's something else I'm going to mention. I'm going to go to rapture dreams because I've forgotten another thing I wanted to mention as well. That's popped out my head. I tried adding single ladies at the youngest possible age before they're a single mother, basically, because I can't get anyone because everyone's a single mother, because everyone are having sex with sexual people, yet they nail me as a sick cunt. So, and even these Christians that have had close encounters with Jesus Christ in dreams or visions, or experiencing paranormal hallucinations or whatever it is that they're experiencing, because I don't know how true all this is, but some of them saying they've had encounters or they visited heaven. Well, some of these people that are going to heaven, they're telling me I'm a sick bastard to look at people my own age, or they change their profile picture, boasting with their baby girl or baby child or baby boy that they've been made pregnant with when they're only 16 or whatever. Yeah, I'm known as a sick cunt if I don't go with anyone over the age of 40 and not had anyone in my whole life. This is Christian people. Even the children are making the suggestion of crueltiness against me. There's one who's a 2-year-old called Lily, and she says where Jesus is telling her, they say, "Justin, going to hell," and says it like that in the video. And then you've got this Korean artist that draws paintings of people that are going to hell that haven't served God. And one of the people that's having his privates ripped to pieces by demons in the fire of hell resembles my face. But also, with the paintings that she's doing, they're making it look like I've had sex with Stephanie, when I haven't. So God's lying to this Korean person who's had psychic encounters of Jesus Christ, and is coming back at me in a sly way, where Jesus Christ and God is lying about me, claiming I've had sex with her when I haven't. So the next thing is, going back before I saw the this specific YouTube video, there was setups that were occurring. You had the Wheel of Fire, followed by what was it? The Rocking Donkey, and then sometimes you'd have like a flare fan, which is like a fire flare, a bit like on the Mario games where the round balls are like on a fire flare and going round. You had that occur, especially in 2015-2016 area. Well, it was not long after that I located this specific video that showed this video of this Korean artist drawing paintings of what she saw in hell on a visit. But why am I being targeted, and why is God trying to say that I'm going to hell, making that plural suggestion to the nation through this person that's doing this painting? With lies, by the way, lying, claiming I'm having sex with Stephanie, enjoying sex, been in a sexual relationship. But you've also got the music industry twisted against me when it comes to the mainstream music industry, and also got the if we go back to my old place back in Bridgewater, there's been thousands of incidents. This is not hundreds, this is thousands, where if you put all together, like the music industry going against you, stuff being written on the newspapers, or timing people, causing people to look like rapists or paedophiles on the television that resemble my face, or murderers that resemble my face, child killers that resemble my face on television. This is probably why I'm getting threats being mistaken as Savannah all the time, because they're doing this all the time. I mean, let's look at Fathers for Justice. When I was living in Bridgewater, they took the CCTV camera down outside my place. The lighting system went down in my place, in the corridor. You had the scaffolding up around my place because they were putting new windows in my place. You had a rent-a-kill van parked out my place with a Connaught van. Then you had the Palace nightclub being opened extended hours nearly every night, and they did the same with the Squid pub. People tried climbing the building because they wanted to kill me, and obviously there was no police about either. But because some of these people were a bit more intelligent minded back in those days, and even the roughest of the rough were protecting me and the other neighbours from people climbing up the scaffolding. And they were also mentioning this conspiracy stuff, because you had all this conspiracy stuff on YouTube as well, which I didn't hear about until later on, believe it or not. But I do remember this being mentioned. I knew what the word conspiracy is, and I knew what they were saying. And they're saying they're trying to hit him off, and saying, no, leave him, just leave him. He's not, saying they're taking the piss out of him, and saying, no, he hasn't had anyone. And then obviously that's where a lot of the Stephanie threats died out, in that sort of time period when they've, tried killing me and doing that. This is just one incident out of thousands. When I've gone on dating sites to meet up with people, they close roads. There's been a governmental event or an event where they've had to take the bus service off for a day. And when I have met up with the only two that ever arrived, these were two ugly people that are like the Lisa attraction type I can't stand the look of. And believe it or not, I'm told I'm a sick cunt if I don't fancy that Lisa. And I've been chased with a knife because I won't fancy people that look like Lisa, and saying I shouldn't even be looking at that at my age. So, they've cut my fucking throat and wrist big time. So there's nothing I can do about it. So, yeah, it's not good fucking news, I tell you. I'm into the subject of old lighting, sort of lighthouses, old street lights, the old Tilly lamps, the old gas lamps, the carbon arc lamps, the old mercury vapour street light bulbs, and the low pressure sodium streetlight bulbs from the 1940s onwards. Believe it or not, the mercury vapour, or the MBFU bulbs, is the really early white glow lamps, and I think they came up before the incandescent light bulb, in fact, because you need an igniter and a ballast. You need basically a transformer to work the old lighting, and I think it's 1901 when the very first of those types of lights existed, and they were first put out as street lights, if I recall. So I'm into all this sort of old lighting, the old factory lighting, the old strip lights in factories that give a gloomy look, like taking pictures of all, just into all different types of old lighting, the candles even, the old torches, the old-fashioned roadwork lights. Where I've mentioned this for many years, that I'm really into old lighting, and the government need to do away with that sort of lighting. So what do? They bring out LED lighting and make it illegal for them to sell all the old types of lighting, and they have to modernise everything with modern lighting. But what else were they doing back at that time when I was taking pictures of it? causing the sun to come out every time I go towards an old light to take a picture of it. And then obviously that caused me to lose thousands of pictures that I wanted to take before 2016. And then what happens after 2016? Blue skies and sunny every fucking day, 24/7. And then, as I said earlier on, you've got this law and cursed painting where they're violating me with that. Now, I didn't give you much detail of that painting, so let's get back to that painting, shall we? That painting is like a sexy young lady. I call it Lauren because it's law and cursed, but it looks more like someone called Julia, who I thought of. But either way, I'm going to keep the name. Let's just say it's a sexual looking lady, yeah? Not the blonde type, the really soft type, but you know, you can see that smooth skin. Sort of similar type skin to Amanda Millis. The type of skin she would have had when I saw her in 2016 type of skin. So it looked like Lauren, same type of skin. Sort of, I would say reddish, but like a pale sort of, I don't know how to describe it. Whatever it is a sexual looker. Right, so she's posing as like she's got doing a sexual, she has just got like a straight lip in the painting, but it's like she's doing a sexual pose with a straight lip. She's got her arm out, and the sun coming out of her hand onto this person on the path. This person is walking down a path. It's a track, sorry, not a path, like a track, a woodland track. And then she's shining in sundown on this person that's walking down the track. If you were to take a picture of my face from a side angle, this person on the track that's walking would look basically identical to my face. But from front portrait view, no, it wouldn't look like me. But it does from the side of my face. Which is not good, because obviously, you know, I've never had anyone in my life. So she's posing as she wants sex. She's actually doing it with a designer painting to make it look like she's wanting sex. She wants to help you. She wants to give you sex. Like a sex goddess coming out of the sky, out of the cloud. So her legs are actually in the clouds. So it's the rest of her body's out of the clouds. She's got like a sexual look, you know, doing a sexual star pose, I guess. And she's shining that sun down on this person on the path, where it's cloudy and rainy everywhere else, with fields and a tractor and a bit of lightning strike with a cloud in the far distance of that specific painting, where she's shining the sun down on this specific person. Well, I saw this in 2015-2016 area, as I mentioned, on the internet, and I went to Martok in 2023, which is just last year. Or I think it was last year. It could have been the year before, but I think it was last year. Mid last year. Yeah. I just thought it's before that, but maybe it's not. Quite literally every day since I've seen that painting, they've issued it on postcards, by the way. So the painting's now big. It's released commercially and big, which has pissed me off, because obviously that's violating me when they're causing the sun to come out. So what basically it means that if you get the sun, you get the sex that comes with it under that curse. But the problem is, I don't like the sun. And obviously, when it comes to sex, I'm being violated, because they're twisting it. So that painting that I saw in Martok has not only been taken off the shelves, but it's off the internet as well, and I can't get the picture to get evidence to confirm that the painting exists. But it's been on the internet. And because it's a big painting, it's going to be recorded that as an existing painting that did exist. And it's a well-known painting, because obviously to get it published on commercial postcards, or whatever you want to call it, to be sold in card shops across the UK is not a good suggestion when you've not had anyone and you've got this curse on me. And if I'm being cursed in the same way as that painting, I'm being violated with the sex. So it should work like this. I like cloudy weather, so I should be getting the cloudy weather. Now, I won't be getting the sex if it's cloudy, but I'll be getting the cloudy weather. Obviously, I just have to accept I've been sexually abused and not getting sex, but at least I get the cloudy weather. You know, you're thinking, at least you've got some form of a life where you can take pictures or go out and enjoy the weather for a bit on a cloudy day. You're thinking to yourself, you might be in a big shit because you haven't had sex all your life and you're not going to get sex, and you might lose your temper at times, but it doesn't work like that. It works against me. Right, an old lady had to come into the church, so I've had to leave. But as I was saying, when it comes to this law and painting, it basically applies that if the sun's out, the sun gives you the sex, so you're being cursed with the sex. So it's basically applying that you're going to keep on getting the sun, but eventually you're going to get that sex that comes to you as well. But you don't. That's the problem. They're violating me. And if we go back to late last year, when I was down a walkway at the place I'm at now, which is Norton Southampton, I actually saw a lady who was about 13, well, it's a child basically. She was a teenager, about 13 to 14, and she's a fat. She had the appearance of Lauren, but she had rougher skin and more negative looking face and more of a dry and sarcastic appearance. And she only just looked like Lauren, but could make that suggestion. And she had no sex t-shirt on. But it gets even better, because with setups and all the rest of it, they're trying to make the suggestion that with this Lauren curse, or this painting of the sexual sun being cursed on me, they want to apply that, how do I put it, that you should be sexing people that rape you as a child, and it's being replaced with that, while digging at me with setups and suggestions and force around me, or controlled, organised, whatever's occurring in my direction to make it clear that yeah, you will get sex, we will curse you with sex, you can have sex with someone who raped you as a child. So there's like stabbing you in the back with that sort of setup. It made a tree giggle. A tree went, I don't know if that got audio recorded, but it sounded like a tree was giggling. God's fallen. It's simple as that. Nothing I can do about it. I'm a little bit pissed off about it. Right, I mean, there's a lot of other things I could go through and a lot of other things I can mention. But I've already mentioned a massive amount already, so let's get to the clairvoyant reading, shall we, that I had. So, right, I'm just going to give it you in sections because I can't think properly because I'm obviously doing this while walking about and it's windy and there's people in my direction, whatever. But she said, come this time onwards, right through to Christmas, she said the behaviour is going to turn very negative, and it says you're just going to have to keep yourself to yourself and avoid the situations, and hopefully you should be alright. She says there's not going to be a move in a hurry, so that's not good news to start with. When it comes to sexuality, she hasn't mentioned anything at all. There's no predictions on anything regarding, she didn't even mention anything when it comes to sexuality. And it's good that that's kept quiet because, when you've not had anyone in your whole life and you're thinking to yourself that they could give you a reading where they're saying you're not going to get anyone, that wouldn't make me very happy at all. So it's best just to, if she was going to mention it, it better have been positive. However, there's a reading I had about a week or so ago which has a more positive outlook. But I'm not giving you that reading, I just want to see if it falls through, because all the things that are going to happen are happening this month. Great car over drain cover. So, she didn't really have much of a positive reading, this clairvoyant, to be fair. Like I said, I'd really like to give it better detail, to be fair. I need to do this later. Oh well, it looks like the sneaky little bastard's setting up the action. I could wait for the bus, but I'm literally hands full. I'm trying to deal with a recording, I'm trying to mention a clairvoyant reading, and there's been about 70 fucking cars, which is record breaking for this part of Norton Southampton. The record for this area is something like 16 started cars and about 30 cars, not 70 fucking cars. This is record breaking. Knife shaped cars, black and fucking blue, grey, sex, sexual, gun looking. They fucking slammed a lot at me. I still haven't written it down. I've got to go back in this area to do it, even though she's in the church, the old lady, the granny. But I've got no choice in the matter. I wanted to get on the bus because I wanted to go in the other direction, but it looks like I'm going to have to wait and go home, I think. It does come back around, but just another 30 minutes to wait. There's no way I can stay there while they're just fucking about with the setups like this. They did this after the reading. Let me just mention that before I give you the reading, because I'm now struggling to give that fucking reading because of government. Or the Creator God's fucking buckling everything around me. At the time I had the reading, they wanted to make this. This is not the reading I had now. This is the reading I had about a week or so ago. When I had that reading, what they did is they made the suggestion to say that it was last week, they made the suggestion straight as after I left the building of where I had the reading, to tell me that that is all false and that we'll tell you what the reading is. And they were just basically saying, we're ripping you to fucking pieces, you're being knifed, you're being fucking smashed in, you're being sexually abused as a child in your next life, we'll fucking cut your wrists, we'll fucking slice your wrist with a crater, we'll play about with you in a fireplace with poker sticks, we'll tear you to fucking pieces, we'll give you the fucking reading. Don't listen to what Clairvoyant says, we'll fucking make it clear what we're doing to you, you little sick bastard, and tear you to pieces. And while we're nailing me as a rapist and all the rest of it. So that's the setups, and tying verticals to smash into me, ripping you to pieces, paper shredder man. And incidentally, I will mention something else. Just before the Liberal Democrats got into power in the local election in Yeovil, which is the destination where I live, they were making the suggestion that the Liberal Democrats are going in power and saying that they're going to rip you to fucking pieces. And they were doing that on loads of times, I don't know how many times, but right through from April onwards. And it turned out true, they did get into power. But what they were doing is they were timing a ripping you to pieces van, and the people in that van eventually saw me so often that they laughed when they saw me, because they were always passing me when I was passing the Vote Liberal Democrats winning hair poster. And it's turned out true, they did get in power. And Labour for the main election. But I will tell you something else, all this maliciousness in the setups and the control force around me has increased since when it's increased 2 months before Labour got in power in the main election. So since Conservatives have been in power, the maliciousness has been slightly down, I guess. It was hard to say, because no day's good. It's sort of, there just seems to be a tense of maliciousness that's getting a bit more nastier, and some of the threats that I'm getting, especially in the last 3 months, seems to be going back to threats I was getting over 10 years ago. Threats I wasn't even getting in Burnham when I was living at Burnham-on-Sea, in fact. It was occurring, but it's extremely rare, like once every 6 months at times, you know. A lot of the threats that I'm getting now is all stuff that's going back at least 12 years ago. All this sort of threats, like molested Sadie or Stephanie, is all coming back. All the threats of back that time, because that all died down and went to nothing. It started off at a Palace nightclub, and after 2 years, when it came to that, sort of 2013, 2014, or whenever it was, just before I moved to Burnham-on-Sea, all this died down from the Palace nightclub and the Square bar. And there was all sort of, at the times, all sort of, he fancied Sally, or he's trying to chase Sally, and started stuff on that. So that sort of went into that, and when I went to Burnham-on-Sea, things sort of died down. You did have my ex-mugger, Dan Morgan, I saw, but he wasn't giving me much in the way of trouble. And a lot of people that are starting on me, mistaking me as Sylvain today, all have the same appearance as his friends. Literally all of them, everybody, and everyone dressed the same way as him now. I'm always walking into the bearded types of people, especially since just before we went out all the lockdown, so roughly about November 2020, when I started getting, when the threats suddenly went into 40 threats per day or whatever. But anyway, I'm about to release the Clairvoyant reading, but I'm having trouble at the moment because of all this construction force around me and whatever, and also I've got to wait for the bus. I need the toilet as well. It's not good. Just before I go into the reading, I just wanted to mention that the government, or the creator God, whoever's causing the maximum control of movement around me, want to cause as much havoc, as much trouble, and cause as much inconvenience, and as cause as much movement control around me, whether it's people or traffic, as they can possibly push in my direction. I don't know how they're doing it, but over 20 people since 2019 have told me, or walked past and said they've never seen it so busy in their whole lives, and some of them have said they've lived there 30 years and they said this is the busiest I've known the road. So it looks like they're doing it on purpose, but it's everywhere I go. It's not just in one area. So wherever I go, they seem to be putting all this traffic, all this control movement around me, putting as many people in my direction as they can possibly do, or what is doable, and this is what's causing all the shit, you know, this is what's causing all the sneezing in my face, all the threats, all the setups, and this is why I've had to be ripped to pieces all my life. Well, this is a problem. But there's also other suggestions that is coming out that I forgot to mention earlier. Again, this is t-shirts and vertical wording. They have timed See You Next Life Trash Cowboy, which is a t-shirt name, but that used to be written on the side of a van as well. And do you know what they time after that? Ripping You to Pieces Paper Shredder van, or something like that. Or Afterlife car, which is a Clairvoyant car. And then other times it's basically saying that they're going to rip me to pieces for many years, or they're going to keep on ripping me to pieces, not just in one life, 2 lives or 3 lives, but forever, by timing a forever car, which is a van, which is a picture of a van that has a butterfly on it. So, yeah, they're just absolutely nasty, these bastards. I don't know if it's the government or whether it's the creator God. Somebody's fucking fallen causing it. But they want to cause as much havoc and as much trouble as they can possibly cause. This is what's stopping me going to the town. This is what's stopping going to town anymore. I can't go into a shop anymore. The government or the creator God is causing as maximum amount of trouble and as much as inconvenience as they can possibly cause. And this is what's causing people to spit, talk, cough in my face up to 200 times per day. Like in 2022. To actually go to the shopping, into the supermarket shopping. You can't even do your shopping anymore without threats or people coughing and sneezing in your face. And even the people at the checkout, the timing that to occur where that person sneezes as well. You just cannot. It's not like it used to be. If we go back before 2012, you had setups, yeah. But it's nothing like it is today. Ever since the lockdown, these setups every day are 4 times heavier than what they ever used to be. I mean, there was times when I went to Bridgewater Magistrates Court and I had to go into the police station where they stepped it up to how heavy it is today, and as malicious as what it is today, but it's extremely rare. You maybe once or twice in a month, where it's that bad. And even if your dad did have a really bad day, they might get 2 days that are bad, but that's it, and then it will be easy action after that. It wouldn't be like it is today. Every day is like one of the really bad days before 2020. Every day. You just can't go out anymore without it. So yeah, this is why I'm getting upset, and this is why, this year I've got a little bit nasty to threats. I mean, I've been threatened to be smashed in, and I've gone into the church and I've smashed up a candle onto the floor, smashing it with my fist, where things have got so bad as, there's been a bit of graffiti here and there, not much, because I don't get in trouble, but, they just would not stop it. They just want me fucking taken apart. They just want me fucking gone, the government. But, or the creator God, one of the two, whoever's doing it are just spiteful, malicious bastards. And the action that was taken on me before the lockdown, they eased it. Going to 2019 area, just before I went into lockdown, I was walking into sexual people. They were telling me that I paid the price for raping Sadie or Stephanie. But the problem is, I haven't. And then they're making the suggestion, well, you done that, so we left it too late, you're in your mid-30s, you're going to have to go with an older person. And I thought to myself, yeah, but when you haven't done anything wrong, you're suggesting that. But what they are saying that is true is about this Bomb Hinkley Point graffiti, which is a bomb power station graffiti. There was a lot of sexual problems that occurred, and I can't say one of the things that occurred, and there's also a break-in at the time that it occurred, back in 2005-6 area, I think it's 2006, and I had some Christmas paint, with glitter paint, and I wrote Bomb Hinkley Point path in revenge of all this. I got in trouble with the police, yes, and they just basically, I can't remember what they did now. I think they fined me and gave me a strong warning, saying that they're more concerned about my life rather than, it's out of all the crimes you could possibly commit, that's the worstest thing you could ever write. And you realise how dangerous that is. We don't want you to see you getting, to be hurt or anything like that. They say, whatever you do, just do not ever write that ever again. Say, out of any crime you do, any graffiti you do, if you have to do it, I mean, obviously you get in trouble if you do, but whatever you don't ever write that. So we're more concerned about your life than anything else. We want to keep you safe. That's what I was saying at that time. So I haven't actually written it. No, I haven't actually written it again. So there's a few times back in that time period where I was a bit off. But anyway, the setups were applying. I paid the price for that as well, with all the forces being set up against me. So the setup started to die off, and this is when I was walking into Gemma Ferguson on the beach. But when it came out of the lockdown, everything went haywire. Everything was tight. Everything got nastier, malicious, and my whole life just went fucking worse and worse and worse. And now I'm known as a sick cunt if I don't fancy anyone who's an old granny. Right, they broke the record of about 70 vehicles in one area earlier on, as I just mentioned. A bike with flashing light to erection light. 2 minutes, seconds. I can't mention documentary, I'm going to have to do it on the bus. Bike wiggled to my penis, turned my head, bike wiggled at me, hang on. Right, I just wanted to mention the record-breaking amount of cars in an area where there were 70 cars earlier is about 50 before that time. But before then, in 2022, the record was 22, which was in late-ish 2022. And take into account, I was coming here most days in the year 2022, because there's nothing else to do. But not only that, you've had about 30 vehicles being smashed into me while I was walking back up that road, which is record-breaking to the time of 2022. Obviously, the 50 was this year, and the 70 roughly is just occurred, and that's a Somerset Waste partnership. Just add to the fucking issue. A person's got out of the Somerset Waste partnership dust cart to photograph me. Right, just going to give you a reading because there's a phone call at the bus stop, and the bus comes very shortly. Just want to mention the clairvoyant reading now if I can. I'll probably add after the clairvoyant reading, I should probably add the rest of today's problems just to let you know what the rest of the day is. Well, anyway, as I said earlier, because I didn't really get into it because obviously I've got all this construction force around me causing many trouble, whatever. When it comes to girlfriends or anything like that, the one I've spoken to now has not give any details or any information or mentioned anything when it comes to sexuality, relationships or anything like that. It's the other stuff that I want to mention. In some ways I'm glad it's kept that way, because obviously if there's a negative suggestion it's not going to look good and I won't be very happy anyway. So however, the clairvoyant I saw last week, or just over a week ago, whenever it was, can't remember the day now, she gave a reading that I was not going to mention until 1 month's time, but there's a bit of positive news, but I want to sort of leave it until that time to see if the government put it through, or the Creator God puts it through with all this construction force or not, and then I can reveal it. That's already been done. I've already made that video of that specific reading, but obviously it hasn't been uploaded yet because I'm saving it until that time, and I have explained on the video on the day I did it that it won't be uploaded until 1 month time from that specific day. Anyway, I can give you this one. There's going to be a lot of negative trouble from basically now onwards until Christmas. There's going to be a lot of issues. She thinks that there could be issues where I might have to camp, and she said when that occurs there's going to be problems there. There's going to be a lot of force around me, there's going to be a lot of people, there's going to be a lot of people giving. Said there's not really any good news at all when it comes to this psychic reading. There's another thing she said when I had the reading which was negative, and that is basically, I'm going to word it in my way because I'm not going to sort of, the burning issue that I'm experiencing there. She didn't really mention that, but she just said that there's going to be issues where it's going to cause health issues or whatever that's being caused. In her own words. So that just messes it up for what the doctor would think, or what he would put it down as. But that's what the clairvoyant said. So the other thing is, she told me to stop buying things. She said just keep a hold on buying things and try and clean your place up if you possibly can. And she reckons that she said it's quite a negative future. She says I don't really want to have to sort of give negative readings or make things sound bad, but she says there really isn't much in the way of good news for me. But like I said, that's just a clairvoyant reading. She might be wrong, hopefully. But she did say it's she just said there's things you can think of to do, but she says they keep being put through, and she says it's not all your fault. She said partly some of it is because you're not going out there trying, but she's saying a lot of what's going on, she said a lot of you're being controlled basically. She thinks I'm being controlled, and she says until we can get that off of you, that force that's causing all this problem, or this black cloud that's around you, stopping you. Well, it's not a black cloud, is it, really? It's because it's sunny everywhere I go, but she used that phrase. And I hate the sun, and I get the sun every day. So unless we can get that sun, if we use the term sun instead of cloud, because I don't like using the term that she gave. She said that black cloud, but the problem is when the sun's out, it's causing many problems. And when I had the clairvoyant reading in the past, who mentioned the same thing, she mentioned a black cloud. She says, as soon as that black cloud's out of the way, you're going to find your partner. Well, the sun's been out for the last 3 years, and there's been no such thing as a partner, so better cloud over again, hasn't it? Because I don't like the sun. But, you know, that's just a term or phrase that she used. It's not actually a meaning to say that there's a black cloud. She's saying that there's a dark force around you, basically, and saying that's controlling your life, stopping you do things, and saying it's going to be very difficult because you can't move it, there's nothing you can do about it. It's saying you just got to live with it and just try and battle through it, basically. She says it's not going to get any better. She says you're just going to have to struggle on through. She says you're just one of those unlucky people I can't give, you know, a happy reading to. She says, you know, there's not much she can do. She says you need to get some professionals, which means paying for it, by the way, to get some, you know, get some dark removal curses done on me or whatever, just, you know, that sort of thing. So, like I said, I've got to wait for the bus. It's very difficult to do this reading, but I've given you basically what she said. So you've had to spend over an hour to listen to why you're going on just for that bit of information, a little bit of information. Anyway, I will do it properly one day. I might have another reading which is a bit more accurate. See if I can get it audio recorded again. But for now, thanks for listening. Sorry it's only been a little bit of information, but there's no way you can do it with like catalytic converter setups, control force setups or whatever. Although it's not that heavy at the moment, it's just my mind sort of all over the place, preparing to having to move from one area to the next, thinking it's going to be packed with traffic. Right, letting rest of the setups. So get a sexual excited penis impulse, go straight up. It's a bike only. Greeny brown mixed with white timed, but it's a sexual van. Grey, choked by catalyst. Black car being gunned down, sick cunt, Justin said. Bo whistles, Justin, sick liar. Gonna fucking shoot him dead, said. Grey, gun suggested vehicle, crutches. Berries coach, Vicaries. Watley van. Willie Ups, bike only, white. Abry van. I won't say what this van is because it will FM my father. Red, grey, sick, white. Blue, red, blue, white, black, sexual. With Labour in power, it's time to fuck people that rate you as a child, suggested. Bow whistles, penis up bike, Harvey van, black and blue cars, white, yellow, yellow, white, 300 more vehicles in a corrupt fucking pattern. Right, sex. The government can't help their crooked force, I get to say. 90% action from the 300 cars, penis up bike only. Red sexual white, grey sick, Bradford's lorry. Penis up bike my way. CVR, grey. Boner bike. Red sick, grey, white, red, bow whistles, red, sexual time. Boner up, 2 bikes, M bikes. 2 M bikes to the next one. 200 cars, 90%. Willie Up's a bike again. Spill your guts t-shirt. I can't say the next 3 vehicles. Not only will it offend one person, but it will offend 2 other people as well. Choked by catalytic converter setup. Loads of a ADT van, DX, sexual, and 30 more cars. I'll leave it there because there's no way I'm going to get a say on this. Right, fire engine gun looking. 2 white. Red sexual, penis up motorbike. 200 cars trying to cross, just trying to cross that is, in a matter of 1 minute, if that. Loud bike to erection.